Here with your host, Coach to the conversation, where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation, how are y'all doing today? How y'all doing today, man? We coming on live, man. We coming on live for a short period of time. I know a lot of people is gonna come on live, man. Just want to come on live and talk about some of this Cowboy news that's been going on out here in the streets here. Couple of things. Wanna first I want to say um the big news out today is the Trayvon Diggs news. Um, if you've been listening to me and you seen a lot of my shows, and when I talked about Trayvon Diggs, they never talked about Trayvon Diggs in a negative light. Um, but I understood, and I've been saying since day one, from the start of this, that Trayvon knew, his agent knew, the Cowboys knew, regardless of what happened this year, that this was going to be his last year at Dallas. Um, uh, it may have been a contentious relationship this year because when any time when you're in a relationship with someone or a situation where it's at the end of the road, regardless of what, and people are almost done with and saying we want to move on, it's never a good thing of how that situation is. Um, I always consider it as like when you have two people that are married and they know the relationship is over and they still staying together. And you could say, yeah, we're gonna still be friends and gonna work well together, but it's a very awkward situation. Trayvon knew this at the beginning of the off season. That's why he tried to get back in the playing field as early as possible. Maybe he might have rushed himself a little bit because he understood he was not just playing for a contract with Dallas. He was playing for a contract with his future and his future with another team. A lot of people was under this impression like where he's gonna play and the Cowboys gonna sign because Trey was gonna be what he was, and they're gonna. I've been saying from day one that this was gonna be the end of the road with Trey here. Now, is this the end of the road with Trey here because I feel bad about Trey or feel that Trey can't play football no more? I understand it's a business point, and if you take your emotions out of it, you will say, well, hey, the Cowboys gave a a big contract, early on, but later on in the contract, the later years, it was a very poo-poo contract. They gave a out in the third or fourth year, and in that contract, they hadn't gotten a great amount of return on it. And that's not because of Trayvon's fault, because it's just injuries. And sometimes you just can't get around injuries, but he was out for a season. He was out almost a half a season, and then he was out before we got. So in the 3 years of his contract, he has not played most of that time. So the contract that the Cowboys put out there, their return on investment was not what not what they got before. Can Trayvon be a good football player in this league still yet? I think he can. I don't know. I don't think Trayvon knows how well his knee will hold up for a whole season or a grinding out season. I don't even think Trayvon knows. But I understood that the Cowboys was not going to go on with the 18 million. Once they didn't do the kicker this past offseason, we all Cowboy fans should have known, as I've been trying to tell everyone from day one, that was the it. And when you looked at his contract, it had an out, And when they got to the out and they don't kick the can down the road, that's it. So anytime that they kick the can down the road when you get to your out, that means they're not finished with you. They want you there. They want to continue for for the relationship to still be there. But if they get to the out clause and they just don't do the kicker of the reconstruction where you don't have to do anything, and they don't kick the can down the road, they're looking to say that this is it. And if you're an agent and you're a player, you understand that. And Trayvon understood that. Could Trayvon go somewhere and be a good football player? Yes. Uh, did he help himself in these last 2 weeks? Probably did. Did he might have hurt himself a little bit? Maybe a little bit. But as I was saying, and I said this 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's everything that what I said 2 or 3 weeks ago is starting to, is y'all see it now. I said 2 or 3 weeks ago it wasn't best for Trayvon to play at all because I knew that the Cowboys were going to do this. I didn't know if they were going to do it at the last game, but they were going to do this. And I think the only reason that they brought him back and got him on the field is because they were trying to get him to a point where it looked really good so they can trade him. It was not that they wanted to keep him. It was not that they wanted to win. They were trying to get it to the point where they could to trade him. And then when they got to the point where they found out it may not be no trade value, they just went ahead and cut bait. And they just went ahead and moved on. And I said 2 or 3 weeks ago that this was not to the advantage of Trayvon to play. If I was Trayvon, I would have never played again for the Cowboys coming off this because I know they was about to get rid of me. That was all it was already in the workings. And I'm quite sure, and I kind of know for sure that his agent went to say, "Hey, we'll take less. We just want to get more guaranteed money." And that was not in the cards. And when if I were Trayvon, I would have never played again for the Cowboys coming off that injury. I would have played like I would have said I could play or did something where they couldn't say or said my leg hurt a little bit and I couldn't play. Because it was better for us to see the new employer of Trayvon. It was better for them to see the first games of the season and not do anything to hurt your stock. You couldn't do anything to make the Cowboys want you. You could have went in there. He could have went in there and had 5 or 6 interceptions. The Cowboys were still going to cut bait. That's how it was. They were not going to go in the $14 million, $18 million cap hit with him. And they were not going to kick it down the road because they had said that they would finish investing money into Trayvon, and they gave him his last bit of money of guaranteed money, and then they cut bait. And for them to release him early, they really wanted to cut bait because they wanted that to hang around. And I'm not saying that they didn't want to hang around, and I'm saying Trayvon's a bad player. See, a lot of people going to twist my words and say, well, coach is ripping Trayvon. No, I've said from day one that if I was Trayvon, it would have been a bad situation for me on this football team. Some of y'all don't understand that. I have said from day one, if I was Trayvon, I would have been a problem on this team. Yeah. And I love football. And I think team first. Yes, yes, sir. But if you got me here and I know you're going to let me go. And if I'm not agreeing that you got a defense that's making me look good and you're trying to do, and you got something that I can't shine in, or I think I can't shine in, or if you don't think I'm going to be a little selfish in my play because I'm looking for future guaranteed money. I'm looking for my future. And then I know I got a sore leg. I know that I don't know how this is. So I got to make somebody want me for the future. And you kind of pushing against me, I am going to be a problem. And if anybody think that Trayvon was just this model citizen and he was just all about the Cowboys, I'm telling you, I would agree with him being that way because it was a no-win situation with him in Dallas. And again, I stand on my stance about this. I'm saying that this was caused, the only thing I felt in this situation that was bad, even though I don't like Mike Eberflus and then some of his, probably his secondary coaches in some course, because of some of the things that they have done that really irks me. In Matt Eberflus' defense, he was given a raw deal when, one, you bring a Trayvon Diggs that's a somewhat looked up on this roster, looked up to on this roster, and you bring him back knowing that you're not going to bring him back. That's going to be attitude. And then you trade away Michael Parsons. And then you tell me, as a coordinator, to bring this together, and two guys in the locker room that may have could have brought it together are gone. Now, that's not to keep Matt Eberflus, because I think he lost around. But in that case, that's not a good look. And and I say this for this too. If you're going to be if I'm an owner and I'm bringing a new coaching staff in here to try to start something, if I know I'm not signing Trayvon Diggs for the future and I'm about to cut bait, I'm not going to use him to try to get something out of him, because I understand how he's going to be. He's going to be not the nicest person. And they should have cut bait long before. If you want to talk about the timing, they should have cut bait. If you weren't going to sign him, you should have got him healthy, and you should have traded him for the trade deadline. If you got a 7th-round pick, trade him then. And go ahead and get from under that. And that way you gave Trayvon a chance to be better someplace else and get a start, and you would have got that type of confusion away from your team. Now, I don't say that would have made us better. But don't tell me, oh, it wasn't no confusion. He was, Trayvon was just saying stuff for the team. Listen, if you were in Trayvon's shoes, you would not be a nice guy. So that's what I'm saying. So I just think the Cowboys see this, and that leads into what my show is about. We're going to talk about today. If I got any problem with the Joneses, my problem is how they do stuff outside the salary cap. I have no problem with how they do stuff with the salary cap, because I think they have done y'all might not like it, I think they've done a remarkable job of what they've done with the salary cap. Well, I think because the salary cap has a restriction, but it doesn't have no restrictions. They're in a great spot in the salary cap. They got buttons they can push to clear up all this over the cap money. They didn't go get these trades and do these trades when they didn't know how they can push buttons. They allow you to think that. But where they have done us wrong is, and this is no disclaimer to Schottenheimer, but in the last 15 years, we have had the lowest paid coaching staff in the NFL. One of the lowest paid coaching staff in the NFL. That's not salary cap money. That's money that we decided as an organization, that we decided that we're not going to pay for coaches, the best coaches, the ones that come out and the ones that can win games for us. The ones that can get the best out of the talent that we have on the football field. We have decided not to pay. Schottenheimer is probably one of the lowest paid head coaches in the league. He's not double digits. Most of your coaches that's in this championship, right, have high paid coaching staffs. The Shanahans and all of them making double digits. They making $10, $11 million a year. Their coordinators, their coaches are making 11, 10. That means their assistant coaches are getting paid top dollar. If you got a head coach making $5 or $6 million, his assistant coaches are making much less than that. You got a head coach that's making 10, 11, 12, sometimes 13, 14 million or 15 million. His assistant coaches are getting paid good money. If you watch, and I said this, the Philadelphia Eagles, that's just the research, and we want to talk about players. Let's just research what Philadelphia did. And I want y'all to follow me, and if you want to go investigate it. But Philadelphia 3 years ago, when they lost 7 games in a row at the end of the season, they fired the defense coordinator that year during the middle season. They had guys coaching the defense, and the defense was horrible going down the last 5 games of the year, and they lost, and then they lost the first round playoff to Tampa Bay. Matter of fact, they lost the division to us when they was up. What did they do in the offseason? They got went and got Fangio he got let go from Miami, and they gave Fangio free will to hire his whole staff. And if you, I don't know, go back and look. The defensive line coach and linebacker coaches that they got, and defensive back coaches they got with Fangio's staff is some of the highest paid defensive line and linebacker and secondary coaches in the league. They had to go get them from other places and offer them good money to come there. His defensive coaching staff is top dollar. By paying that top dollar, they didn't really change none of their defensive personnel. Matter of fact, they got rid of Hassan Reddick. They brought in guys from rookie guys to play the secondary, the guys that they're playing very well now. And their defense went from worse during the last 7 games to the #1 defense and a Super Bowl the next year. Tell me if I'm lying. They didn't pick up a bunch of free agents. They got drafted guys. They played with 2 drafted guys in their secondary last year. Not no first round draft picks. The cornerback that went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was hurt most of the time here and there. And they got to the Super Bowl with that defense. And this year, that defense is what's holding them together to win the division. They're getting what they paid for on the defensive side. And Fangio came, but he wanted top dollar guys that had reputations of doing very well. And it seems to us that we think, and when I say that, everybody looks at me when I'm crazy because we love to talk about free agents. But think about this. You have the richest organization, wealth-wise, value-wise, in sports. That's just like you driving a Bentley car where everybody else is driving Cadillacs, but you're driving a Bentley. And you're getting a service by a shade tree mechanic. Or you're going out and buying Walmart gas. But you buying all the great parts for it. You spending money on the parts, but you getting the service by a guy that's working under a tree. And I'm not talking about Shotty and say Shotty can't be a good coach. But when you look at our assistant coaches, you're giving guys that's getting starts, guys that are moving up to from line coaches to offensive coordinator. You're giving guys that coming from college jobs. You're not hiring the best guys in the NFL that's top at their positions because they're not coming here because you're not giving no money. And there's no salary cap in who you get to run your team. But we as a fan base, we allow that to go by. We act like we don't see that. We're worried about signing Pickens. We're worried about signing free agents. We're worried about going out there and spending money for free agents. But the great teams ain't buying free agents. If you look at all the teams that's playing right now, there's guys going for the number one seed. They got maybe one person here and there, but most of their team is homegrown. And they don't have no bunch of big names. But their coaches are doing a hell of a job. Seattle got DeMarcus Lawrence, maybe another guy, but that's homegrown. They got Donald to play quarterback, but the rest of that team is homegrown. San Francisco doing it, done lost all their big name guys, and all that team is what? Homegrown. Chicago got a couple of linemen here and there, but that's homegrown. The Rams, when we talk about they got one receiver, but the rest of it is what? Homegrown. So the way to get to it is homegrown, but you got to get the best out your players. But we want to do it the easy. We think we're doing the easy route by going and trying to buy guys. Because that's our mentality of saying we got the money, but we can go out and buy football players and they can just make guys look good. But the other teams got coaches that making guys look good. And you look at their coaching staff and to our coaching staff, they coach circles around you. So when I said, when we talked about when Jerry's supposed to say, and I keep telling you, there are certain things Jerry says that you have to be spot on and listen to him. A lot of the stuff he says in these, and we're going to talk about some of the stuff he's been saying lately that, one, why are you asking him? Two, what has he got to say about this and what he knows? But there are certain things in interviews that Jerry tells you that is the God gospel truth. But we let it go by. And let me point out three things that's the God gospel truth that we have to be concerned about. And I'm going to point out, and then and I'm going to point out how it is falling, and tell me you don't see that in real life. First, we're going to go back in history. What I always say, Coach Marv always say, history could do two things. I always say history can do two things, people. History either can teach you great lessons, or it can hide things that could be a problem over and over and over again. Let me say this again. History could either teach you great lessons, or it can hide things that keep on happening over and over and over and over again. Because sometimes we don't look at history and those same problems happen over and over and over and over again because we don't pay attention to the history. Or it could teach us a lesson that we can stop things from happening over and over and over again. The problem with Jerry, we were talking about Jerry and Jimmy. They told you in the documentary, they were doing great success till Jerry said, I got enough talent here that I can get 100 guys to coach a team with talent and win Super Bowls. Had he been trying to build talent, And he's still been trying to find those 100 coaches since Jimmy left. Has he found them? Oh, he got with Barrett. Barrett won. That just made it even worse. Barrett took they were leaking oil. If you look at the documentary when they talked about that Super Bowl team with his that 30-minute documentary they had where they talk about how they went through the championship, all the players said, what? That year that we won the Super Bowl with Barry Switzer, we were leaking oil. We barely got to the finish line. And if that game would have won another quarter, we would have lost. That just made Jerry feel that he could do it with anybody. And he never crossed that goal line again. Matter of fact, he ain't never got close to the goal line no more. And I'm not saying it was all Jimmy. Jerry and Jimmy work well together. But you can't get 100 coaches just because you got talent and we can win. Let me tell you why you can't do that. There only been about 37 quarterbacks, I think 38 quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls out the 50 or 60 Super Bowls. Go check it out. It ain't no 50 or 60. I'm talking about it's about 38 starting quarterbacks that won Super Bowls. So when we talk about quarterbacks, there are only 38 of them that have won Super Bowls. So it ain't a whole lot of, if you consider championship, there's not a whole lot of franchise quarterbacks. And some of those guys, Marv Ripton, the guy from the Trent Dilford, and the guy from Tampa Bay, we consider them franchise guys? No. Even the guy from the Bears, man, never could make the Hall of Fame. These are not franchise guys. But let me also tell you this. They ain't up about 36 head coaches that won Super Bowls. Duh. They ain't know about 38 head coaches that have won Super Bowls. And how many head coaches have been in the league? Some teams that had 38 head coaches in their history. So it must mean something. And it must be a hard thing to do as a head coach. You got some of the head coaches that got most of them. Chuck Noll 4, Bill Walsh 4, Tom Landry 2, Jimmy Johnson 2, Bill Parcells 7. Andy Reid 3. You got coaches that's winning all of them. So you just can't get 100 guys and say, I can throw 100 guys out there and they're going to win. It's just as tough as a coach as it is a quarterback to win Super Bowls. So there's special breeds to get to the end of the road. It ain't this easy. You can throw anybody out there. And under that, there's only a certain system of coaches that have won. So Jerry has stood 10 toes down on thinking that I can get talent and I can throw anybody out there with little of no money, the cheap guys. I can get a Bentley and run off Smiley or cheap gas and still have great performance. That's the rich man. That's the rich man philosophy. If I'm wrong, tell me where our coaching staff are getting paid. Tell me why, with the richest organization with no salary cap on coaches, why we don't have one of the top paid coaching staff around. If I'm not lying, tell me why not. We want to talk about free agents, but tell me why we don't have the best of the best. Why Sean Payton is not here? Why Harbaugh, who's at the Chargers, why he not here? We got money to pay him, but we pay them, we got to pay whoever they wanted assistants, and they're going to have to get top dollar. That's the first thing. That's true. The second thing, and this goes back to how we play as a team. Did y'all watch the documentary? If you watch the documentary on the Cowboys, it was on Netflix. Jerry gave you some revealing stuff on that in that documentary that was the God-honorable gospel truth. And y'all decide that y'all don't want to listen to the truth. And he telling you the truth. He's telling you his hang-ups. And he told you this when Jimmy got fired, when he got home, and I keep trying to tell you, man, that your wife, if you got a wife or you got a husband that been with you all your life, they know you better than anybody else. And when he got finished firing Jimmy, his wife said, you just can't stand when something going good. You're going to mess it up. And then the show paused when he said that. And then Jerry came on and said, I have a tendency when things are going good to get complacent and get too beside myself. Every time things going good, he always steps in and jacks something up or start a story that's crazy that throw everything off the rack. Tell me if I'm lying. And guess what? That mentality goes through your team. Because every time we start to win as a team, every time we start getting momentum, we go and lay an egg. Tell me if I'm lying. See, we see things, but we act like we don't see them. He's telling you. We listen to all this other BS he's talking about, but when he tells us the truth and that we can see it, we act like we don't see it. And that mentality on this football team is always the truth. We can't handle success because as soon as we start doing well, we'll find some way to start thinking too highly of ourselves and jack it up. That's the mentality that's coming from the top down. Every time Jerry gets a good thing, we start doing it, he comes with some interview, some stupid story, start talking about some stuff he ain't got no business talking about. Mess up all the momentum of the team and get everybody off rhythm. If I'm lying, that's two things. One, he think that he can get anybody to coach this football team. As long as he go out and get Will McClay and they get talent, he think that can do it. And the third thing, and now I want y'all to really listen, because this is going into Diggs, and this going into the defensive coordinator y'all think y'all going to get, and it's going into the coaching staff that y'all think y'all going to get on defense. Jerry said last year, when people asked him, why are you keeping Mike McCarthy a lame duck coach? Nobody in the NFL keeps lame duck coaches. And I said this before last year. If you think you're going to win last year with Mike McCarthy as a lame duck coach, well, I said this. We always think as Cowboy fans that we just so, and I hate to say delusional, but I would call our own fan delusional. We're delusional. We think that we're going to be the first team that going to go to a Super Bowl with a lame duck coach, knowing he's a lame duck coach. Now, it may be let's say it's one team that did it in 15. So see, always people say, well, it did happen before. But if that's 1 out of 10, you still delusional. If it's 2 out of 10, you still delusional. Somebody asked him that question. And know what Jerry's reply was? He started rambling on about that the NFL, the whole NFL, is paying over $200 some million in dead money to coaches and GMs. He said, what you mean by that, coach? What is dead money? That ain't no salary cap money. No, it's not salary cap money. He's talking about dead money when they fire GMs or they fire coaches, assistant coaches, and head coaches before their contract is over, and they still got to pay them because their contract went out. The NFL is paying, around the league is paying over $200 million to coaches that's no longer coaching or GMing their teams. Matt Eberflus is a coach that's still getting paid by Chicago because they fired him early. Oh, boy, y'all didn't hear that. So you got Matt Eberflus at a discount rate like you always do, Jerry, because you went in negotiations and say, hey, man, I don't need to give you top dollars defense coordinator because you getting money from Chicago. And guess what Matt Eberflus said? Yeah, I'll take that money. I'll take that extra money. I'll get my money from Chicago, and I'll take that extra money for you because it don't void his contract unless he got another head coaching job, but he got a defense coordinator job. So all that money that Chicago still owed him, he's still getting those checks. And Cowboys got a coach at a discount rate. So both of them tie in. First, the cheapness of the coaches, and then he didn't agree with the league paying. He said that was a travesty that the league paying $200 million to coaches that not or GMs that not working, because he had that rich man syndrome. That's saying, man, if people are not working for me, I shouldn't be paying them. So he kept Mike McCarthy on and gave him a 1-year coaching staff. Everybody was lamed up. Knowing, let me get this over to you, because some of y'all ain't gonna understand it. Some of y'all ain't gonna have they ain't gonna understand what I'm about to say. He let Mike McCarthy come back at a lame duck coach. You already told Mike McCarthy when you let him come back as lame duck coach that you weren't gonna bring him back. You already know he wasn't gonna succeed because the lame duck coaches don't succeed. You gave him a coaching staff on 1-year contract. With guys that take a 1-year contract, you know those guys ain't coming in there with no loyalty, and they're really penny pinching to get the contract. Zimmer came in there because he was just trying to come back one more time and give it a run. He gets 1-year coaches. 1-year coaches contracts, when you are everybody on lame duck staff, there's no loyalty to nobody. So what you did to Mike McCarthy last year is the same damn thing you did to Diggs this year. Tell me if I'm lying, people. You gave Diggs a 1-year contract knowing that you ain't bringing it back. You give there's no win situation for Diggs. There was no win situation for Mike McCarthy. Just because when you said that the league paying $200 million in dead money to coaches, you refused to pay dead money. You refused to pay Mike McCarthy $5 million and got him out the way and started off with a new coach last year. You refused to cut bait with all those other coaches in 1 year and get you a coaching staff in here already last year because you didn't want to pay lamed up coaches. You let Jason Garrett finish his contract out and you let him fire him after his contract was over. You could have fired Jason Garrett the year before. How'd that lamed up contract work out? The only coaches you fired before his time was Captain Crunch, Wade Phillips. And you ain't fired another coach out of all the coaches you had until the contract ran out because you refused to cut a coach and fire a coach and pay them and they were working someplace else. If I'm lying, Find out where I'm not lying at. Jerry tell you what he is. Y'all refuse to believe it. Y'all go on all these other stories they throw you on, but the truth to the matter, y'all refuse to listen to that. Every player, he very rarely cuts bait and cut a player before their contract out. It has to be a very bad case for them to move on. But most times they'll take the guy all the way to the end of his contract. Yeah, he was Captain Crunch. Yeah, that's what he reminded me of, Captain Crunch, Wade Phillips. I've been saying that. But Jerry been doing this all the time. Players on the team, they take them to the end. Listen here, you could have cut Trayvon Diggs in the offseason or got rid of him. But you know why you ain't cut Trayvon Diggs, even though you weren't going to bring him back? Because you were for him $9 million and you got $500,000 back, and you said that you weren't going to trade no guy and let him make money and he wasn't working for you. And you wait till the last day after he done got all the money, and then you started cutting. Well, you could have cut him a long time ago. I ain't lying. Y'all act like y'all don't see it. Every player that he cut, unless it's now in some cases, and they must have really messed up. Taco Charlton must have really messed up. But everybody else, they take it to the end of their contract, and then you get rid of them because you said you don't like paying dead money to people that ain't making money. When you cut Ezekiel Elliott, you had paid him all his money before you cut him. Go check it out. Unless it was down to like $2 or $3 million, you could have let him go, but you're not gonna let guys go because you don't want to be paying contracts to guys that ain't playing for you. That's that old school method. Everybody else cut bait and say, I ain't worried about that money. Get the people out the room and let's go to work with somebody else. But not Jerry. He told you in the interview that that's what it was the problem with him. So how do that work right now? Listen up, Cowboy fans. Let me break your heart. Everybody don't like Eaglefus. I think Eaglefus need to go. But do Eaglefus have a 2-year contract? A 3-year contract? I believe he may do. He might. Because most assistant coaches now don't take a contract unless it's 2 to 3 years. Do the rest of those assistant coaches he got, when they hired this whole defensive coaching staff, do they have 2 to 3 year contracts? Probably they do. Is Jerry gonna cut? If you bring a defensive coordinator in here, you expect him to work with the guys he got there already just because they're on contract? Hell no. So Jerry, you're gonna have to pay some guys when you cut them and fire them that ain't working for you. Is he gonna do that? Is he gonna do that? Because that's against his philosophy. He already told you he don't like that. So this defensive coordinator thing can go 3 ways, people. And let me give you the 3 ways it can go. You either can go the expensive route and the top dollar route, but you can't go too top dollar because your head coach ain't getting that much money. So you can't bring too many people in at top dollar because your head coach ain't getting top dollar. You can go the real cheap route, or you can go the in-between cheap route. What's the real cheap route? The real cheap route is let them go and play it out another year. Play to the end of their contract and then cut bait with it and say, give the spin that we're going to get more continuity. Not extend their contract, but try to play it out so when they get to the year 2 or 3, you can cut bait with them and not pay them as much money, dead money. Y'all think that route can't be done? Listen, I'm telling you, you're going against what he thinks. He don't like paying money to guys that ain't working for him. He already told you that. That's the real cheat route. What's the semi-cheat route? All of a sudden, out of Dallas, somebody started throwing some innuendos and all this crazy stuff about how bad the secondary coach is. They already throwing this out, talking about it was a confusion with the coaches and the linebacker coach. See, they already, and I don't like some of the assistant coaches either, but they're already throwing flames on assistant coaches now. What's the second cheat route? Blame the secondary coach. Blame the linebacker coach. Fire them because the dead money paying them ain't as much as paying the dead money to Eberflus. Fire them. Some of the other coaches, Eberflus keep. Fire a couple of those coaches. Eberflus get another chance. Don't give him no extension. Play Eberflus contract out. Get rid of those coaches, and you pay a little bit of dead money. If you go that way, don't tell I ain't told you that. That's the semi-cheat route. What's the expensive route? Fire Eberflus, bring another defense coordinator, and tell him whoever you don't like on the staff, bring your guys in. Because that's what Philadelphia did. Fangio would say, man, come in, hey, man, I'm doing my thing, and I got to get the dogs to work with me. I'm not working with nobody who ain't no dog that I don't know. And let's go. Clear the whole staff, and if I want that guy and he costs that much, let's go get him. I want that guy, he costs that much, let's go get him. Because I'm going to bring you championships with my defense. That's what Fangio told him. And he done, hey, listen here. He has shown up delivered. And they didn't go get him no bunch of players either. He took the players they had and they drafted guys and he made players star. Brian, the number 53 linebacker, was garbage with the other unit. He came there, he made that guy all pro. He drafted guys in the secondary. Guys that were sitting on the bench, now they're playing. He didn't go out and get no whole bunch of free agents. Check the rosters. And then he said, go get one player here and there. They went and got the guy from Miami because they tried to get other guys. He didn't get a whole lot. He got a piece here and there. But the basics of it was homegrown. Now, the Spencer route, fire Eberflus, get rid of all the coaches, defense coach staff, and let's build it back from the hey. Now, all this talk about the guy from Minnesota. What I've told y'all about the Cowboys. Anything that they got any of these news stories is hot like this, it's every day in the news, every day somebody talk about it, they ain't got no chance of hiring that guy. That ain't gonna never happen. When has it ever happened that they have talked about, and they signed the person? Player or coach? That's just talk. For one, y'all raising the price of it. And when you get that type of power that everybody wants you, now if Jerry wants to bring that guy in and you're going to give him the money that he really deserved to get, he want power in his coaching staff. He's not coming in to coach nobody unless, let me tell you something, I know from coaches for you, you're not going to take no leadership role in coaches. Now, you'll take assistant coach's job and have to deal with it, but you ain't going to take no coordinator job and work with somebody else stuff. No! I got to work with the guys that I know that's loyal with me. Because I come and work with some other guys, they're trying to make me look bad to say I shouldn't have been hired. But is Jerry going to break his trend of paying coaches to be gone? Now, he did it with the other coordinator that McCarthy Phillips, that McCarthy hired. Well, he had no choice. But that guy with no more 2-year contract. See, y'all don't know that, did you? See, he went over a 2-year contract, and he was getting peanuts too. See, y'all think, say, well, he did so-and-so. Go check his contract out. Oh, yeah. He's going to try to get somebody, for one, he's going to try to get somebody. Listen, do y'all remember when it came down, when this is, let me tell you about the Bentley, right? Let me tell you about the Bentley driving on Walmart gas. Let me tell you about the Bentley being serviced by Shade Tree Mechanics. When remember when he was trying to hire a defensive coordinator last year, and he was talking about Zimmer, and then he talked about hiring, and I'm not saying this guy, right? But he talked about hiring, what's the guy on TV, the person church that you say was old? When he what's the guy? The guy was on. Todd Bowles would be good too. Going to get fired. That'd be great. The guy that he was trying to hire, what's the guy? The guy that was on the TV, that you said he was old. But anyway, God, man, please somebody tell me the guy off the TV, the used to coach the Jets. I mean, my mind's slipping right now. The guy was on TV coach the Jets, and remember they were trying to hire Zimmer, but they stopped to hire Zimmer because they said he was still interviewing for the job. Rex Ryan. And Rex Ryan, they stopped on the calendar and they said Rex Ryan was still interviewing, and Rex Ryan said, hold up, I don't know if he had the job, right? And Rex Ryan said it came down to money. Didn't he say that? They tried to get Rex Ryan at Walmart price. And Rex Ryan was like, yeah, you must be crazy. My reputation, wait, where that? What y'all trying to do? And Zimmer took it. Why Zimmer took it? Because he wanted back in the NFL. He just wanted to see if he could play again, coach again. Zimmer went back in it for a full-time basis. He just wanted to see if he can get, and remember what Zimmer said? I told y'all Zimmer was done when Zimmer said, man, this was more than I thought. Yeah, that's an older man to say, I got back into it, and it was, this ain't for me no more. And he was glad to get out. It wasn't about, about the Cowboys, but sometimes, man, you like, hey, it just ain't that grind, I can't deal with it no more. And he took, listen, anytime Zimmer took a job at a 1-year contract, and a guy that been as long as Zimmer been a head coach and had the credentials that Zimmer had, and he took a 1-year contract, man, that's when I found out Zimmer had a 1-year contract, I knew that wasn't gonna last. Because, like I told you before, if you get players that know their value and they start taking discounts, it's something wrong with their game. And they trying to just get a real check. Same thing with a coach. You got that much value and you take a 1-year deal at a budget rate in Dallas, there's something going on with you. You ain't at your top level no more. You just trying to get a chance. And Rex said he didn't take the job because they couldn't get the money right. Did he tell y'all that? Because Jerry still believed that I can give Harry Bentley and get Shade Tree Mechanics. And guess what? He got y'all believing the same thing. He got y'all believing that if we go out and get free agents, if Jerry go and spend some money, we get some talent, that we can have guys that's from the Shade Tree and they can win us championships. But let me tell y'all something. Have we ever won a championship before with Shade Tree Mechanics? Remember, Bad Swisher still had the same coaching staff that Jimmy had. And as that coaching staff started to leave and go other places, and Barry Switzer had to hire his own people, where did it go to? Listen, you can debate me, but tell me where I'm lying. And I can tell you one thing. I'll say it again, and I'm going to say it 1,000 times To y'all understand, history can either be teach you a great lesson or it can hide things that keep happening over and over and over and over again. Because, see, if you pay a coach a lot of money, guess what he automatically comes with? I'm gonna see this is a tutorial to everybody in the chat. When you pay a coach top dollar because he knows his value, when you pay a Belichick top dollar, which you could get a Belichick for less than 10, 11 in the pros, 15, 16 million. You can't get a Harbaugh that's at the Chargers other than 16 million. You can't get none of these guys that come in there and not pay them top dollar and pay their coordinators 3 or 4 million. Almost the same price you're paying head coaches here. You got to pay the defensive line coaches 900,000, 800,000. We turned down one of the running back coaches because he wanted 700,000. You can't pay them because he was making more money at Texas than he was making at Dallas. They showed you that last year. So when you pay the guys for their reputation to get the job done, when you pay them that money, what does that automatically come with? It automatically comes with not being a yes man because you're paying them too much to be a damn yes man. It automatically comes with a little bit more power than a guy getting $3, $4 million. When you pay a guy minimum wage, he don't come with say so. But when you paying a guy at the top of the scale, he got a little bit more say so. We got a Bentley car, but we getting the service under the tree. Sometime under the top when it's raining. Ain't on the lift. We on jacks. Holding the car up on jacks. With a guy sliding underneath the car on a piece of cardboard to change the oil. On our Bentley. And what we worried about is what accessories we gonna put on the Bentley and think that's gonna be good enough. But we don't see that we getting the service under the tree. Three things at this point, y'all. Is he gonna pay some coaches and get rid of this and do it the right way? Is he gonna pay dead money to coaches and get rid of guys and do it the right way? Because, see, I always said this. You do it the right way. I said it's never the coaches that win championships. It's never players that win championships. It's the combination of the two that is well put together. And I've always said this. Talent. I need to pull up my talent thing. Hold up 1 second. And this is what you need. You can get talent. Well, hold up. I'm gonna see if I can find this. Just bear with me, people. Because I've had shows before that had certain things, and I always said Coach Marv shows go right back to what they were before. And I said, you gotta remember Coach Marv things. Coach Marv things gonna tell you, gonna go right back to what things were. Coach Marv shows always gonna go back what I had a show by a long time ago gonna come back, and it's gonna realization gonna come back. Football is not that simple. When I'm watching uh the Seattle team do what they do, to the 49 team do what they do. I'm watching the Chicago Bears team do what they do. And I'm watching these teams, and I'm like, their talent is nowhere close. And it just playing as a team. And I guarantee DeMarcus Lawrence is telling you he's feeling so much revived because it's about football and it's not about a bunch of drama. There's not a bunch of a drama is so and so, and they staying focused. Everybody talked about Chris Durden, but Chris Durden was a hell of a coach. And it seems like even though Dan Quinn might be struggling, but he had a pretty good coaching staff. I told y'all, and I'm gonna talk about some of the candidates, about some of the people that I think we overhyping and we don't remember. But let's talk about what coaches can do. And I'm gonna share this screen with you because I talked about this in one of my other shows. And I told you it's not just about coaching. Y'all always say coach always say it's about coaching win championship. No, it ain't. It's about talent, but it's about getting the collective group, get everything out of your collective group. It's about the team that gets the most out of everything on the team. You can't get first round draft picks everywhere. You got to be able to get guys to play the best at their level in the place that they need to be. And I told you, make no difference how much talent you get on this team. There's only thing what you want coaches to do with talent. This is the exact same thing what Schottenheimer is. Shanahan is doing it in this year is his best coaching year by far. They got a chance to play for the number one seed and and they're doing it because they took coaches and said, "Do this. We're not gonna be perfect, but we're gonna take talent, whatever our talent is. If you made an NFL team, you got talent. We're gonna motivate. Just all you ask coaches to do with talent. Just all you ask them to do. Motivate the talent. Make sure the talent is motivated every time to do their damn job. No other job, but to do their job over again. Motivate them. Then refine their talent. Whatever they do well, make sure that they do that well all the time. Refine their skills. Make them work on certain drills. Make them work to get it. Don't let them sit around and say, "Oh, I'm good and I don't have to work." Refine their talent. Motivate them. Refine their talent. And then the third thing, hold the talented players accountable for playing their best all the time. That's from the Turpins to the Dak Prescotts, to the CeeDee Lambs, to the Fournette, to the Pickens, to the Toberts, from the top to the bottom. Hold the talent accountable. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing in 49 land. They say, "Hey, we got some guys hurt, but we still gonna hold these talented guys who made an NFL roster, because if you made an NFL roster, you could play." And we're not gonna say, since the starters are gone, the champions, the guys are gone, we still gonna hold you accountable to do your job. And then the last thing, put the talented players in the right places so they can shine. That's all you ask a coach to do with players and talent. And sometimes we're missing motivating talent, because I'm watching guys go out one game and play good, then the next game come out and play like they ain't played before. Then they come out the next game and it looks different. Some of that is Jerry Jones uh 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 syndrome that's feeding down to the rest of the team, that says, once we start doing good, remember what I said? He say, I got a tendency to get lackadaisical. Well, that's what his team is doing. I guess that's what his coaching staff does, because they get it from him. Are we refining the talent? Is number two, is our players getting better from what they was before? Are they going to another level? I hear people talking about Will McClay. Talking about he ain't got nothing. But check the players that done left the Cowboys that has been good. You got to count those draft picks as good. If they go someplace and play good, it was a good draft pick. Who failed it? Our coaching staff. If a guy go to another team and play another 5 or 6 years and be productive for another team, he could have been productive for us. And everybody's not going to be a Pro Bowler. But when you draft guys and get undrafted free agents, you want them to do their role. It may not be a Pro Bowler. It may not be an All-Pro. But if they fit your role and do it well, it's a good draft pick. We ain't been holding people accountable to do what they supposed to do. It shows sometimes. And then we Tony Pollard went many years, we ain't put him in the right spot. We got players that we not putting in the right spot to do their plays and shine. And I'm not saying this coaching staff is messed up, but these are things what a coach needs to do. And it's a combination between talent, togetherness, and coaching that wins championships. You can get all the talent. I've seen teams that had talent all over the place and fall short of their expectations. And then I've seen teams like the 49ers without the middle linebacker, without their great defensive line, without Deebo Samuels, without the other $100 million wide receiver, without their quarterback for 4 or 5 games, without Trent Williams in their last game when they won championship, and they're still winning because they have a system that they're still strong, and they may be better with those players, but they have enough of the system to get by. Yes, they're better with all those players. But if they had those players and they didn't do the right things with the other players, they still wouldn't win. So that's what I'm saying, man. Nobody wants to hear me when I say this. I've been saying it for the longest. We got a Bentley, the richest organization in sports. And we going to Shade Tree Mechanics. Because we refuse to pay people their worth, because Jerry said 30 years ago, I could get talent and I could get 100 guys to win a Super Bowl. It's been 30 years. How many coaches? How much that worked out for you? You know how many head coaches came off Jimmy Johnson's staff? I don't care how good they was, but you know how many people gave guys head coaching jobs off Jimmy Johnson's staff? People still revere about Tom Landry's staff. Because they were demanding of their staff. They were just as demanding of their staff as they was of their players. And when you're a head coach, if your players see you get on your assistant coach's ass because they ain't getting the guys to do what you want them to do, and they not went on that, guess what? They automatically know that who's running the show. Nick Saban go at his coaches all the time, but you know something? They respect him for it. They understand that he has a level that his coaches have to be to make sure his players are there. And I think Schottenheimer needs to be more transparent in his interviews. If you got guys that you feel ain't tackling out there, say it. But this Abner said, well, I ain't gonna hurt nobody's feelings because I want to be a player's coach and I don't want the guys to think I'm getting down. Listen, man, either you get down on them sometimes and coach through the media, or they'll have your butt in an unemployment line. But one thing I can rest assured, you ain't going to unemployment line with the Cowboys until your contract run out. And guess what? When players and coaches, when coaches feel that they ain't gonna be able to get out of here because their contract and their contract run out, guess what type of they don't feel no urgency. Because they know you don't like paying coaches, Jerry, that ain't working for you. You don't like playing players that ain't here. What you gonna do with this defensive coordinator? Because evidently he got to go. And there's some guys on that secondary coach and some guys on that safeties coach and that backhand coach or whatever, and some of the guys that you're linebacker coach that you like, there's some guys that need to go too. Or what you gonna do, Jerry? You gonna fire Eberflus but promote the defensive line coach to the head coach. That's the other cheap route. I forgot to tell y'all about that. And then when you hire him, he gonna keep the rest of the assistant coach because he don't work with him. And the only person you got to pay dead money is Eberflus. And guess where you're gonna be at? The exact same place you was in before. Because you're doing the cheap route. And then he'll go sign Pickens to a contract, and then all y'all will think, oh, he's doing something because he paid Pickens. All y'all will be like, oh, he paid Pickens. He spent some money, and he'll give you this Walmart coaching staff again on the defensive end, and y'all think it's going to change. Or he'll go out there hire or get a free agent defensive player. He'll go out and they'll trade and get the guy from the Raiders. And he keep this Walmart coaching staff, and then y'all think just because he brought him in that he gonna change everything, and they're gonna still fail because they're gonna have the same philosophy. Because you think we just bring some players, that's gonna kill it. Okay. Four things I want y'all to take with you out of this live. 3 to 4 things I want to take out of this live. One. Well, let me explain one other thing right quick. Everybody want to talk about. I remember everybody was talking about Joe Witt should stay here because everybody wanted Dan Quinn. They were like, get Joe Witt. Well, I told you that Joe Witt ran the back end. So whatever coverage we forget in the in the playoff game, it wasn't a run game. Our secondary was getting torched. Yeah, our secondary was getting torched in the Green Bay game. Yeah, y'all see the game I saw? And guess who was running the back end? Joe Witt and Al Harris. Now, I think Al Harris could be a good defensive back coach. I would like to see him get more into being a passing game coordinator and into a defense coach. It's a whole different line when you dealing with the whole defense. That's a whole different line. Now, maybe could be, but I'd rather have an experienced, hard-nosed guy here. Because guess what? If he hire Al Harris, he gonna be able to get him at a discount rate because Al Harris want the opportunity to be a defensive coordinator. And if you get the defensive coordinator at this round rate, guess what? You have to hire your assistant coach. His defensive assistant coach is going to have to be at a discount rate. Or, like I said, if you hire a guy at low value money, he has less say so. With the paycheck comes with a little bit more say so. If you hire the guy from Minnesota, way we hyping him, he gonna come with a hefty dollar, and he gonna come with a little bit more say so. If you hire Todd Bowles, which I think that could be a real good choice, if Todd Bowles is fired, I like Todd Bowles because I know Todd Bowles ain't coming with no nonsense, and you're gonna be physical on defense. If you ain't playing for Todd Bowles. But if you hire Todd Bowles at a good salary, because guess where the linebacker coach, what's the linebacker coach we had here before that Michael Parsons like? The one that came with from Minnesota. He's over in Tampa Bay. Know why he over there in Tampa Bay? Let me tell you what I found out with my inside information. Y'all name the guy that Edwards. Yeah, Edwards. Edwards is over there at Tampa Bay. Know why Edwards is at Tampa Bay? He left Dallas. Because Edwards said, man, y'all ain't paying no money. I'm telling you what I know, not what I understand. He didn't leave. The Cowboys wanted him to stay. But they wanted him to stay at cut rate money. Edwards said, man, I go to Tampa Bay, get way more money than this. Y'all want George Edwards. George Edwards said, I know this for a fact, people. George Edwards said, hey, man, the Cowboys wanted him to stay. He said, stay with this? For this? You're crazy. See, y'all. Man, listen, they've been doing this for a while, man. They want guys because, see, they like to play this role about, well, you know, it's a privilege to play the coach for the Cowboys. And you could do it for less. I bet you in Dallas, they paying their concession stand people cut rate money. Yeah. There ain't no salary cap. You would expect that we would have the highest coaching staff, paid coaching staff in the NFL. Hell, we don't pay no general manager. The general manager is the owner. So if he cut his salary out, that's fine. You got more money to put for coaches. Everybody else got to hire general managers. Y'all don't see what people pimping y'all, man, as fans, and y'all don't understand. When you think that's pimping, when you got a Bentley, and you go over to the guy George, the mechanic, and the Bentley sitting up on some jacks under the tree, and you look at it and say, man, that's the man that owned the store, the big store down there, owned all that money and got all that money, and he got that big business, and he got this Bentley, and he bringing it to you to fix because he's afraid to take it to the dealership and get the top level guys to fix it. Yeah, he bringing it to you under the tree. But I tell you, man. So we're gonna be very interested about this hire. Is he gonna do it the cheap route? But if you're gonna bring a top next defensive coordinator here, I don't give me a tip about the defensive line played good, so let's keep it on. If we're gonna bring a defensive line, a defense coordinator here, come in here and bring your home staff, baby, and let's rock and roll. And I want a guy that's gonna know his value to come in here that you got to pay, but you can't pay him too much because you can't pay him more than your head coach. You can't pay him more than your. And see, this is where y'all locked. This is where y'all messed up at. Check this out. You already hired a coaching staff at low rate cut rate prices. You already hired an offensive staff at cut rate prices. You can't bring a defensive coordinator in here and he come in making more than the offensive coordinator, and his assistant coaches is making more than the offensive coaches. because he gonna expect to get the best guys, and they don't come cheap. So you already painted yourself in a corner to pay cut rate. Do you understand what I'm coming from, church, when I said that? Did you hear, church? Tell me what you already painted yourself in a corner to bring your defensive staff got to be in line with your offensive staff. Because once you start going cheap, you can't put a Louis Vuitton top with a Walmart bottom. That don't work. If all your clothes is Walmart, you can't go out there and buy a Louis Vuitton and then state that that's going to fit the wardrobe. Tell you, man. Y'all think common sense is not real. But let me get it. I've been on here too long because I know some other guys want to talk about Diggs. But I said my thing about Diggs. Topics were here. Diggs already knew this is not surprising me. This is it just should have happened a long time ago. Not because Diggs can't play, but you had already given up on Diggs. You should have gave him an opportunity someplace else, and you should have alleviated that the subject and stopped trying to use the guy to use up his last bout of money when you know you ain't gonna go with him no more. That's just that's that lame duck status, and I don't like that. Second thing is Jerry has told you this. Just watch this stuff about dead money for coaches. Is he gonna go the expensive route? Did he paint himself in the corner that he can't pay defensive coaches and bring them in the top dollar like he need to get the best out of his talent because he already got offensive coaches on cut rate budgets? You just can't mess up the pay structure like that. You got to have some continuity there. We got to stop fooling ourselves, and we got to demand that we get the best of the best. If we watching other coaching staffs around this league and their head coaches, Ben Johnson getting big, ain't getting pennies. And if he getting big money, his assistant coaches get big money. All the guys that's in this playoffs is getting big money. So if they get big money and we the richest organization, we should be sitting around saying, hey, man, we deserve to have the top dollar guys as well. Not just players, but we need to have the top dollar guys because the top dollar guys make it get some of these guys to get to the level that we want them to get to. But if you pay a guy, right? If you pay him what he's worth and a respectable salary, guess what? You can talk about Jared, they ain't gonna give. You can talk about Jared gonna say he ain't got no word and Jared got puppet. But if you paying a guy really good money, it comes with a level, a little bit more level of respect and voice. It does. And can we beat this syndrome of complacency when things start going good that we have a tendency to mess them up? When will we get over this complacency that is from top down, that does things or get over hype or just go too far? When we start to win, we start talking about Super Bowl. We win 2 or 3 games, we start talking about Super Bowl instead of talking about getting got doggone better. When we gonna realize that we're in the mud and this big hype stuff that we got here is not that we can't get out the mud and get to the top, but remember we in the mud and we got to put this thing in 4-wheel drive. We got to lock down the differential and put it in low gear and get ourselves out the mud instead of trying to spin our wheels and thinking we just gonna throw something out here, Max Crosby, and that's gonna We're gonna be because we got bling. And teams are out there without bling and winning. And remember, this all these rumors about this guy from Minnesota. When has the last time that we done talked about somebody that's over and over again, and this is guy, and this is guy, and this is rumor, and stop listening to all these rumors. All these rumors, these media people are just come up with crazy stories because they know our fan base jump around like crazy. There is no moves being made right now. They just trying to get to the end of the season. And hopefully they play a hell of a game on Sunday, get to 8-8, and then we go into the off season and see what's going on. But right now there ain't no moves being made, and all this stuff we jumping on, people are not going to allow Cowboys just to have jobs. There may be some guys out there that's going to be out there that they can get jobs, but when we get those people, look at what how they get paid and what their value is. And then you gonna know what they're gonna come with. And if they get what they want, it's gonna come with a little bit level of voice. And then we just gotta hope the voice is right to get us where we need to go. Because there's no guarantee that they got voice that they're gonna make a difference. Um, but y'all have been so, and I'm sorry I hadn't listened to y'all comments. I know I've been ranting and raving here. This is a great comment here. Um, and I know there's a lot of other great comments. This is hey man, I need to put this. Hey, I'm gonna might put this on a t-shirt. Um, my t-shirt guy, my lady friend, uh, um, my boo, my boo thing. Listen, babe, write this down. She's out there. Write this down. This can be a great coach. And listen, this right here, and I got a saying that I'm gonna say next year we're gonna put on t-shirts is defense is a weapon. Everybody gonna be talking about weapons. Defense is a weapon. We're seeing around the league right now that teams are using their defense as a weapon. Philadelphia won a game yesterday with a defense being a weapon. That's probably the first game that a team that won a second half, they won a game on the road and didn't complete a pass and didn't score no points. And they won a game on the road. Could we do something like that? I know the Philadelphia fans are not happy with it, but your offense will come along. Your offense ain't gonna stay dead. It's gonna come along. But your defense has to be constant. Great comment here. Great comment. I hope my baby sees that comment. This is what it says. It says what? You get what you pay for. I'm gonna put her comment, but babe, you see this comment here? Talent plus coaching plus culture equals champions. Very good, man. Very good. Man, I couldn't say it no better. I appreciate you, man. That's all right. And I always says, man, my baby puts this out here. It goes back to the old saying, you get what you pay for. And not always in that point, not always with power. You don't have, people talking about with players. You get if you listen, I have seen supervisors on jobs get fired. And I've seen guys come in, other supervisors come on jobs with the same staff, and we start pushing out production like crazy. Sometimes it's leadership, and sometimes that person came and got rid of some people, but they took the other people and raised their level. They shifted people around, put people in the right spot, knew how to work with people, knew how to talk to people. Didn't talk to people all the way the same thing. They knew how to lead, and they got people around them that helped get them. So again, it's a total failure by everybody when we don't win. It's not a failure by one person. And teams that go and try to put the blame on one person or one thing, and say we do one thing, we're gonna be better, and teams are going to say, "Oh man, don't worry about it. We're gonna be all right on this end. Let's just get that. We'll be talking about we get this defense coordinator that's gonna be us a title contender." No, it ain't. Only thing gonna do is you get a defense coordinator. The next thing you gotta do is you gotta go to God doggone work. Just getting a guy, you get Max Crosby, that don't mean you're a title tender. You got to go to work. Who coming along with him? But like I said, man, if you want to support the channel, I always say this: if you want to support the channel, um, if a cash happen or super chats or those stars, those stars you can send. But hey, if you want to continue to do this content, we're gonna do some content on this off season. But we're gonna do our still gonna do our series of watching playoff teams. And I hope you will love the game that we watch. I didn't give a commentary, but I will give a commentary when we do the next playoff game or some of these games maybe coming up in this weekend or the next weekend, that first week of the playoffs. We're gonna find the adversity sets in, how teams deal with adversity, how they keep playing, how they play together, and at the end, how they come together as a team and depend on everybody. It's not only if the quarterback plays, it's not only if the defense plays good. It's about everybody making plays and being tough. So if you want to support the channel, the Cash App is there. But you can support the channel more a lot if you just say you like, you comment, you subscribe, you share this stuff, you promote this, and we try to get up to the other 200 subscribers I need to get to the 1,000 subscribers, so I can get to the other level of monetization, so we can move on and do some great things with this channel. I thank y'all so much. Tyrone Church, I thank you, man. Hey man, listen, man. I appreciate you, church. I need guys out there like you to promote some of the things that I'm talking about. I don't that's why my show is Coach Marv Real Talk. And I'm gonna tell you about real. Some people don't like to take common sense. But if y'all listen to the things I've said and you look back and you can see it, sometimes we're not willing to see it. And sometimes they expose stuff that ain't got nothing to do with the real problems is. And I always tell y'all, and I'm gonna have that on the shirt as well. History can either teach you some great lessons, or it can hide stuff that keeps happening over and over and over again. Sometimes people hide history because they want to see the same stuff that happened over and over again. They want to replaying the same problems or the same stuff that's suppressing over and over and over again. That's why they don't want you to know the history. But it could be a great teacher, or it can happen over and over again. And what we need to do is learn our history as Cowboy fans. We got too many Cowboy fans that just came in the last 25 years that don't know our history, don't know how we have won, don't know how we have grinded. And we grinded, and I keep trying to tell them, people talking about your old school, the same grind and the exact same way that we won in the 70s. Guess what, people? 20 years later, the same way in the 90s. Don't you think things were different in the 90s than it was the 70s? Yeah, by far. But the same mentality and the same makeup of the team won again. Same dominant defense in the 70s, same in the 90s. One great wide receiver, one great wide receiver in, a great side wide receiver in Tony Hill. Now we got George Pickens. A dominant running game, Dorsett, Emmitt Smith. A dominant defense that got out the people, great safeties on both teams. We were physical, we could run the ball, and we had a hard-nosed coach that took no slack. And in the 70s, all our players had little TV shows. We were the most popular team in the 70s. We were the most popular team in the 90s. We had guys everywhere doing everything. So it's not about the fame of the Cowboys. That's always been the case. But we always been Bentleys. But we ain't always been with Shade Tree Mechanics. The two guys that won the Super Bowls are in the Hall of Fame, baby. We always been a Bentley of the organization of the NFL. But Jerry, you can't get 100 coaches to do it. You got to find a special breed. And you got to pay them as such. Because with pay, it's going to come with a level of respect and a little bit more level of say so. As I always told y'all, man, we've been on an hour and 30 minutes. I came on early. I got other guys out there, probably Boss Cowboy, probably Amp Sports, probably Big Time Show. Some of these people might be on already. Henny Sports, Landlord. May not see me on their shows, but these are the guys I respect and gave me my shot to get out here and do these things. Go to their shows, listen to the show, listen to everybody that you know this talking about this. Y'all know my thing on Diggs. I don't think it's wrong. It's panning out the way I thought it would pan out. But listen to these guys, support these guys. Also, watch other football people. If you want to know how the Cowboys get better, watch these other teams and how they play and how they move. And the best way to imitate is imitate people who are successful. Imitate how people got there in their grind. And stop thinking that you could do it totally different in this fantasy way and get to where they at. If they grinded out there. And when you look at the playoff teams, all of them grinded it out and they went to work. And they made stars. Because what a star comes with opportunity. Great players come with opportunity. And opportunity doesn't never go. Opportunity never goes away. It just moves to the next person. As I'm gonna always say, Cowboy players, Cowboy organization, coming up on this Sunday, get your mind to work. It's even as the last game of the season, we are seeing other teams that's out the playoffs and playing hard football. I expect us to play hard football. Just like I see the Cleveland Browns play hard football, I see all these playing hard football. I expect us to play hard football. Play very hard. Go out and keep your mind on your work. Keep your mind on your work. And as I always say, man, as I've been saying for the last week or so, and this is my faith, no one or nothing can stop God's will. No one or nothing can stop God's will. Until next time, people, salute. Peace.